Dr. Kimberly Jones. She is a professor and chair of civil and environmental engineering at Howard University and also an associate dean of research and graduate education at the College of Engineering and Architecture. Her research focuses on improving water and environmental quality. She served on many different panels with the National Academies of Science, EPA, and she also served on the Environmental Engineering Grand Challenges Committee of the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, for which this conference is based. So please join me in welcoming our moderator, Dr. Kimberly Jones.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, technically 6 minutes ago for us on the East Coast. Good morning to those on the West Coast. It's a pleasure to moderate this session. I want to thank the conference organizers for inviting me to be moderator. I'm really excited about the topic because I do believe that those of us in our profession have kind of an inherent responsibility because of the kind of work we do to be at the forefront as we deal with issues around COVID-19, systemic racism, and environmental engineering education. So I wanted to start today by just with some basic definitions. First, systemic racism. Sometimes it's referred to as institutional racism. And it really refers to the systems in place that perpetuate racial injustice. So these systems may look different depending on what year you're born in or what year we're in or exactly where you're located geographically. But in this country, those systems are pervasive, right? And so they affect everything from what neighborhood you live in, where you're educated, where your children are educated, how you're perceived by society, your access and quality of the healthcare you receive, your likelihood of being harassed or killed by police, your access to voting, all those things, or all those institutions. We've learned, and the COVID-19 pandemic has really highlighted a lot of the inequities in a lot of those systems. And so the idea of systemic racism it's new to some folks, it's offensive to others, but for many of us, particularly those who live in brown skin every day like I do, it is an everyday reality. And COVID-19 exposed a lot of these systemic inequities, and it really has forced us to think about how a truly colorblind virus somehow managed to affect different communities in very disproportionate ways. And so I want to jump to environmental engineering and education because that's what we do. That's something that we, many of us as professors or students in environmental engineering, we have for many years viewed the main purpose of our work to really safeguard public health. We deal with water and wastewater treatment and air pollution. And a lot of our work is really focused around a lot of the technical issues related to a lot of those things. And we are truly the caretakers of public health, global public health. And we provide scientific underpinnings for many of the enforceable environmental regulations that protect and preserve our water, land, and air resources. And we also educate the next generation of scientists and engineers who will continue the tradition and do the same. And then when COVID-19 came, it really turned a lot of these institutions upside down, right? In a way, we are teaching our students online learning. A lot of those things really changed. And then the Grand Challenges report that Maya mentioned earlier is entitled Environmental Engineering in the 21st Century, addressing the grand challenges. I think Colleen mentioned what our main grand challenges were. We had an ultimate challenge, right? We had the 5 grand challenges, but then we defined as the ultimate challenge, preparing the field to address a new future. And that's where our community, AEESP, is really important to make sure that we're able to realize that challenge and we're able to really prepare our future environmental engineers and scientists to address a new future that is not changing on the scale of decades. We're seeing now that we're really changing on the scale of months these days. You know, it's not even 2 or 3 years. We were asked to do this report looking forward in the next 30 years, but we've seen such huge changes just in the last 6 to 8 months that we're finding we're having to really adapt on a much faster time scale. So I really want to challenge everyone as we get into the meat of today's conference to really think critically about how we can encourage collaboration, interdisciplinary work and research, and community level engagement in all of our work. and how we can inspire our students to do the same thing. COVID has really furthered this challenge. When we did the report a couple of years ago, we never envisioned that we'd be in a pandemic 2 years later. So this really, it does highlight the importance of a lot of the themes of that work. And today's session, you'll hear a lot of folks talk about, a lot of our own members of our own community talk about how the COVID-19 pandemic has already transformed the way that they teach their classes, the way that they think about their research, the way that we gather as a community. So I want to thank all of you for attending the session today. We really appreciate you being here. I hope that you've submitted lots of questions and you continue to submit questions as we go along with our panel today. So with that, I want to thank you.